Jonathan is created as an informational, educational, and entertainment show. Hope with Jonathan hosts, guests, partners provide information on the basis of research and personal experiences, and is not to be taken as or implied as diagnosis of any disease or treatment. Hope with Jonathan, its host and guests and partners, recommend and encourage you to speak to your medical team before implementing any treatment or diagnosis found on this show or any product, service associated to Hope with Jonathan.
What's up, guys? My name is Jonathan Traylor, and on today's video, guys, we're going to be talking about when does it get better? Will I start feeling better from COVID? And so let's get into this video. Hope you guys are doing well. My name is Jonathan Traylor. If you're new here, my name is Jonathan Traylor. I'm the host of Hope with Jonathan podcast right here on YouTube. I've been doing these videos here on my YouTube channel talking about COVID-19, Omicron virus is what I ended up experiencing. And you can go back and watch all these different videos that I have. I've been trying to keep them really short. I feel like they're much more effective when you keep them really short. But guys, listen, if you're wondering at all, before we get into our interview or our video here about who I am, listen, you can definitely check out my website at hopewithjonathan.com. Right here on this website, you can actually check out our live interviews, our podcasts. You could read blogs and stories on there. You can definitely get more information about who I am, what I experienced as a kidney patient, and much more. So you can check out hopewithjonathan.com. We also offer a free newsletter that we send out. It's basically we send you some videos and things like that we've done recently in case you missed it. So it's really cool. You can go check that out, hopewithjonathan.com. Also, guys, we definitely would like to encourage you to go check out Donate Life. .net and definitely sign up and save a life. I just did a video just recently here on YouTube. All month long in the month of April is National Donate Life Month, so we definitely want to be mindful of that. But also, guys, listen, you can definitely be impactful and save someone's life and definitely be a life-saving hero if you sign up at donatelife.net. If you're recently diagnosed with kidney disease, maybe you are a patient that is going through the process of understanding and learning about kidney disease. Maybe you're on dialysis, maybe you're in search of a kidney donor. Reach out for support. If you have questions and concern, you can definitely check out kidneysolutions.org. Okay. Also, guys, for more great kidney information, you can go check out kidneyconversations.info. We're definitely collaborating with a great kidney care partner, caregiver for his wife, and host and founder of KWM, which is Kidney Warrior Merch, all the way in Toronto, Canada. Mr. Kyle Hawkers, we've collaborated with him. This is a website for kidney disease information. There's blogs over there. We've done some educational videos. We just recently did a podcast with each other that I just released released on Hope with Jonathan podcast, which is streaming everywhere. So it's an audio platform. You can actually listen to it right here on our YouTube channel. I have those distributed right here on YouTube so that you can just pretty much do everything right here on YouTube. But if you're a person that doesn't like to listen to podcasts on YouTube, you can listen to it on Spotify. You can listen to it on Apple Podcasts. Hope with Jonathan podcast is streaming everywhere. But you can check that out at kidneyconversations.info. There's lots of great info there on kidney disease and much, much more. Go check it out, guys. Let your voice be heard. Drop a comment. Let us know what you think about our videos right here on Hope with Jonathan. And we definitely appreciate all of your support. Remember, again, this is no way, shape, or form a diagnosis. We played the disclaimer video. We're not medical doctors. We're not medical professionals. I'm not trying to tell you what to do. I'm just sharing my story with you. Maybe that someone would come along and watch it and connect with it, understand the process, and maybe have an opinion on something, or maybe understand things a little bit better. So I think it's great to share your personal experiences and journeys. And if you have questions or concern, sometimes when you come across a video and you connect with someone who's been through the same thing, it's a little bit easier for you. And so I like to do these videos, and I like to tell people that basically, remember to check with your team. It's the best policy for you. It's the best policy for me. It's the best policy for everyone. If you have questions, concerns, before you implement any medical changes at all, you didn't hear it right here on Hope with Jonathan at all. You have decided to do that on your own. So definitely check it out with your team. Ask questions. I don't think there's a such thing as a dumb question at all when it comes to your health and your diagnosis and medications that you're taking and information that you come across. There's no such thing as a dumb question, okay? And if you're seeing a doctor that makes you feel that way, I would suggest finding someone else that you can connect with and talk with, because like I said, there is no such thing, regarding kidney disease and things like that. Any medical diagnosis, there's no such thing as a dumb question. So, but guys, listen, back to our video. Hope you guys are doing well. We're going to be talking about do you ever feel better? Do you ever feel better? And when do you feel better with COVID? And it's kind of a question that has kind of a double meaning inside of it, because does it really ever get better? Or yeah, we're going to talk about that and see what we think here. So listen, this is what I've done some research on, and I'm telling you about my own personal story with COVID-19 and Omicron virus. I will tell you, for the first couple of weeks, maybe 2.5 weeks, I felt really rough. And for the first week, I would say the first 3 or 4 days, I felt incredibly tired, chronic fatigue. I did not throw up. I was not nauseated. I actually had the opposite. I was actually eating a lot, snacking. I was definitely pumping a lot of fluids, a lot of water. But I had a fever. And I had a fever for probably 3 or 4 days, and I felt really, really sluggish and had chronic fatigue. Like I said, I was really tired, just did not feel well. And I laid around and rested. And around the 3rd day, I made myself just get up off the couch and go for a walk, because I'm a walker. I like to walk, and I like to do exercise and things like that. But walking is my exercise of choice. I like getting out and getting a nice walk. And when I say walk, I mean I like 3 or 4 miles at least. And I really enjoy my walks. Not only is walking and exercise good for the physical body, but it's also good for the mental aspect of your health. And it's a great way for you to blow off steam if you're a person that deals with stress or depression, maybe anxiety, things like that. It's great for that. It really helps clear your mind. Maybe you're having a bad day, maybe things aren't going your way. You get out there, do a walk. It definitely can change things. But that's what I did. The 3rd day, I had enough of it already, and I was like, I'm getting out, I'm going to go for a walk. And I began to feel better personally, and this is just my personal story. From there, I kind of started feeling a little bit better after about the third or fourth day. I started feeling a little bit better. Then about it kind of lingered though, the feeling of the sickness and the ugh and the yuck. I kind of just kind of lingered for about 2 or 3 weeks for me. And what I mean lingered was I had the cough and the congestion and just kind of just still kind of out of it and fatigued and that really lingered for probably 3 to 4 weeks, literally. So I'll be honest with you, I personally did not feel 100% until after probably around the fifth week, probably fourth, the fifth week. So you're looking at about a really with lingering conditions such as like cough, congestion, things like that, just kind of feeling not yourself. I literally would tell you that I think for me personally, I did not feel better till after around a month. It was around a month to the fifth week, and right now, I mean, I'm months post. So right now, I feel great. Okay, but like I said, I'm months. This happened months ago, so I feel a lot better. But let's look and see what research is telling me. So signs and symptoms of coronavirus disease may appear 2 to 14 days after exposure. Okay, so these are what we're talking about is just when the symptoms start to appear. And this time in exposure of the symptoms is actually called the incubation period, kind of like the baby being born in the womb and things like that. So it's incubation period type thing where it's just starting to get started, starting to grow. And then this is a common question that is asked on Google: is what is a typical time to recover from COVID-19? Now I just told you guys three, around a month, you know, and then maybe a fifth week in there possibility. And that's just for me. That was my personal story. There's many patients out there that are still recovering from this. We're going to get into that. And then there are patients, as you know, guys, that they unfortunately COVID-19 just hit them terribly hard, and some of them, a lot of them ended up on ventilators, and a lot of patients really suffered with this. It was we were blindsided by this COVID-19, literally. But early research suggests that it could take at least 2 weeks for your body to get over a mild illness. Okay, and I'm listening. I was not hit with the first wave of the COVID-19. I was not hit with the first wave. I wasn't hit by the Delta. Okay, I was hit by the Omicron. Now, this is kind of gonna scratch some people in a different way. Okay, it's gonna kind of rub you maybe a little bit different. But I feel like Omicron was almost a lighter version of COVID. Now, I'm just telling you that because of how it affected me personally. Now, I know patients, and you see the stories that Omicron, destroyed them. They were in bad shape, and they did not do well with Omicron. Some patients didn't do well with Delta, and the first wave, a lot of patients didn't do really well. But I kind of felt like to me that the Omicron felt to me like it was sort of like a flu, if you will. Um, but that's just my opinion. It's not the same as the flu, but what I'm saying is if I had something to compare it to, as far as a sickness, I would say that the Omicron to me felt like a flu. But here it is. It's saying that it can take up to 2 weeks for your body to get over a mild illness, up to 6 weeks for a severe or critical case. Well, as we know, that COVID has been hitting a lot of patients, especially immune compromised or patients that had other underlying conditions. It hit them even harder, and it has taken a long time for a lot of patients to get over. And some patients, unfortunately, guys, it caused death, and that was just that's like the most terrible thing that you want to talk about when you're doing a video. But unfortunately, COVID-19 has caused a lot of casualties, and it's like I said, it took us by storm. We really didn't know what this was at first, and it's just been a tough scenario. Newer data shows that the recovery varies for different people, depending upon things like your age and overall health. And if you go back and look at some of the videos that I've done, just one recently, where I talked about the importance of exercise and boosting your immune system, talking about the importance of hydration and how the hydration works, things like that. And then we also did a video on talking about eating food, but a lot of these different factors of underlying health conditions, such as uncontrolled diabetes, uncontrolled hypertension, which is high blood pressure. All these different underlying conditions can definitely put you at risk because you are immune compromised at this point. So, and also kidney transplant, any form of transplant is immune compromised. Okay, but what we were talking about in some of these videos before was that if you were a person that was involved with engaged with exercise and health, and your overall health was good, the statistics had showed that you would not suffer with COVID very long. But patients that were not engaged with exercise and a good diet and a solid routine of this and practicing it were more likely to suffer with more greater risk. Okay, you were basically at greater risk with COVID. So these are huge factors that you have to definitely be mindful of and keep in mind. So this definitely gonna your overall health and things like that, and the variants for different people, kidney, transplant recipients, immune compromise, it's all gonna vary. So in my opinion with this, guys, listen, no way, shape, or form. Like I said, I'm not a doctor or anything. I'm just telling you. I feel like it's a patient by patient basis. I feel like that it's a case by case basis on how long it will take you to recover from COVID-19. That's it's saying here. It is that it could take up to 2 weeks for your body to get over a mild illness, a form of it, or up to 6 weeks for a severe or critical case. As we know, it could be longer depending upon how bad, how many underlying conditions, your overall health, your age. All these things play a huge factor at getting over this COVID-19. And then there's something called long COVID. And the question here that's asked on Google is, how long can COVID-19 symptoms last? So long COVID is a range of symptoms that can last for weeks or even months. And for being infected with this virus that causes COVID-19 can appear, weeks after infection. So what they're saying is that basically if you test for COVID, you could actually test positive for COVID, even weeks, in some cases, even months after COVID. Now, I will tell you that I tested probably after 2 weeks of having COVID and really fighting through it. And we had went and got another test. I actually tested positive again for COVID. Now, I know right now, without a doubt, I've had lab work, I've had COVID tests, all this type of stuff, and they've told me that I'm negative. Okay, but again, I'm months post now. But what it's saying here is that if you experience something called long COVID, that it could last weeks or months after being infected. Okay, and that it can basically show up. So long COVID can happen to anyone who's had COVID-19. So anyone can experience long COVID. It says it here. It says even if your illness was mild or if they had zero symptoms, no symptoms. So anyone can experience long COVID. Okay. So if you've contracted COVID-19, whether it's the original wave, the Delta variant, or the Omicron, and now they got the BA2, I believe, you know, you can experience long COVID if you're not careful. So it can happen to you. That's what it's saying here, and it's saying that the range of symptoms can last for weeks or months. So it just kind of depends upon how harsh COVID is hitting your body. Again, like I mentioned, case by case basis. That's what this is literally. What I'm coming to a conclusion is this is literally case by case basis. So here's another great question: is it normal to feel better or intermittently while infected of COVID-19? So during the recovery process, people with COVID-19 may experience reoccurring symptoms. Okay, alternated with periods of feeling better. Varying degrees of fever, meaning so you're going to go from a low fever to a high fever to a low fever. Fatigue, breathing problems can occur on and off for days or even weeks. So I can tell you guys that I noticed that my blood pressure for the first couple of weeks after I'd experienced COVID, so probably around the month of after having COVID, and I started feeling just better. Like I said, around the fourth or fifth week, I started feeling better. I noticed that my blood pressure in the mornings was running just a little bit higher than normal, a little bit higher than normal. Also, not my breathing wasn't off, but my blood pressure was just a little bit higher. And my mom and her husband, which is my stepfather, they had contracted COVID as well, and they were at home recovering as well, and they noticed the same thing, that they were having problems with their blood pressure after weeks of having COVID. And they were noticing problems with a little bit with their breathing and heart rate and things like that. So these are things that can happen to you after you experience COVID. You can have intermittently feelings of feeling like you're getting better, and then you start feeling crappy again or feeling worse again. Sorry, I'm just giving it to you blunt. And then, varying degrees of fever, meaning you're going up and down with fever, fatigue, which is, you just feel tired and overwhelmed. Breathing problems can occur on and off for days or even weeks. So, it can definitely happen. So, again, guys, I think in a nutshell, uh, for what I'm seeing here with the statistics and my own personal story, it's really a case by case and a patient by patient basis. There's no format or formula for, you know, oh, this is how it's going to go for you type thing. Because this patient, or these 10 patients had it and experienced COVID like this is exactly what's going to happen for you. Now, it's not going to be like that. It's a patient by patient basis. It's a case by case basis. It's all determined upon your age, your overall health, your underlying conditions that you may have. Again, diabetes, hypertension, for example, kidney transplant recipient, all these type of things play a major factor because you're immune compromised. So it can play a huge factor when dealing with a virus like COVID. So, we already talked about long COVID, but can COVID-19 symptoms last for months? Yes. But for an estimated 37% who contract the virus, symptoms can linger for weeks, months, or even years. Reading that is very scary statistic. One of the most common symptoms of long COVID is brain fog. I've already experienced brain fog with having kidney disease. So, I may personally relate that to kidney disease and dealing with kidney disease. Even though I'm kidney transplant recipient, I'm still dealing with kidney disease. So, that one's kind of an iffy one because I could relate brain fog to kidney disease and not think it's COVID. But that's what it's saying. It's one of the most common symptoms of long COVID is brain fog. A life-altering condition characterized by slow thinking, confusion, difficulty remembering things, or poor concentration. That's basically the definition of brain fog. So, these are the type of things that you can face. These are the type of symptoms that you can face with long COVID and things like that. So ultimately, guys, I'm going to say this. I've said it a couple of times during the video, is that basically it's going to be a case by case basis. There is no right or wrong or length of time question for this right here. Does it get better? I say yes, it gets better, but it's all going to determine whether or not your overall health, your your diet, your exercise routine, how your body responds to COVID. There's a lot of different factors that are playing a huge part with when you're talking about the COVID-19 virus. So um, to put a timeline on it for you personally, I can't give you a timeline. Basically, I can only share my story about it, but honestly, for me, it took me about a month to get feeling, around 90%. And then I still, sort of lingered for a little bit, but like I said, the first 2 weeks were terrible. I had the full gamut. I mean, I had, fever, cough and congestion, just achy, chills, all of the above. And the only thing I didn't have was a severe nausea and diarrhea. I actually was snacky, so I was just like eating all the time, just munching, and I just felt like I could never, end the craving. I was drinking water. I think I went through a case of water in like 3 days, which was like 42 waters that I drank. But I just really think it's going to be a case by case basis, determining whether or not how long you're going to suffer. And we've talked about it. Always stay engaged with your team. Like I said, you go for a few weeks, you stop running a fever, uh, and you're wondering about whether or not you still have COVID. You need to get tested again. Whether you go buy a test or you can go get a free one, or however that's going to work for you, or maybe your team can set that up for you as well. You know, you don't need to let this linger and not know whether or not you have it in your system. So the best thing for you to do is to definitely reach out to your team and talk with them, and definitely never hesitate to feel like that you can't reach out to your team and talk with them regarding your overall health and things like that. So it's definitely important to stay on top of these things, because as an immune compromised patient, if things start getting worse or continue, you can definitely progress quickly, and definitely end up in the hospital, and things progress from there. So you definitely need to stay on top of it. But hey, guys, listen, I hope you guys found this video informative. Again, in no way, shape, or form this a diagnosis. Definitely reach out to your team for any information at all. Basically, I am just sharing my story, my opinion on COVID-19. I've kind of covered some of the questions that a lot of people have about COVID-19 and the Omicron virus and things like that. So I'm just sharing my experience with Omicron and what happened with me. And I really feel like that somebody may come along this and have a question. Maybe they'll relate to it and feel like that maybe this was informative for them. But I don't think there's an exact answer for this, or an exact timeline of when does it get better? When will I feel better? If you're in great shape, if your body is in great shape, you may feel better in no time with COVID and be, jumping out the door and running back to work really quickly. If you're immune compromised, you're already exposed to or at great risk because maybe you're at risk because you're overweight, or your diabetes is out of control, hypertension's out of control. Your body may say, well, it's going to take you months before you start feeling better. I don't think there's a timeline on this. You basically, it's all, again, it's going to determine whether or not your age. It's going to determine be determined upon your overall health. And so again, guys, if you have any questions about this, you definitely want to reach out to your team and talk with them. And I think it's definitely important to continue with the testing and see, if you are still continuing to test positive. I think it's very interesting to find out that the symptoms of long COVID can definitely reach out for or extend for weeks, months, and even years. So I'm not sure they really know how long COVID-19 is going to affect the human body. I think that's to be determined. We do not know the long-term effects of COVID-19 yet, as far as 5, 10 years down the road of how exactly it's going to affect our bodies. Hopefully, by then they've you know come up with some form of a strong medication. The vaccines are great and everything, but I'm saying some form of medication or some form of a vaccine that may restrict this to a very minimal. I think we're still sort of in a exploratory situation with the vaccines, and that's a whole nother subject and a whole nother video. If you're wondering at all, yes, I am vaccinated with the Moderna vaccine. I've had 3 vaccines. I have not went yet and got my 4th, but any day now, my team's probably going to reach out to me and tell me to go get it. But I am basically, I'm in hopes that eventually we will get on top of this COVID and have a much greater understanding of it. And the more data, I think the more data that comes in, and the more statistics that come in, as far as research and people filling out, doing surveys and talking with patients and collecting data and testing and things like that, we're going to eventually help. It's going to help determine and figure out what we're going to be doing and how we're going to treat this COVID-19 in the future. But listen, guys, I really appreciate you tuning in to these videos. My name is Jonathan Traylor. I'm the host of Hope with Jonathan. And again, guys, thanks again for tuning into our video. Hope you guys are doing well. Stay blessed out there. Remember to spread love. God bless you. Take care of your kidneys.